It's a Brad Fittler Swan song. It is a career-defining night for Bradman Best and Keon Kaloamatangi, who experienced the Origin Arena for the first time.
Hello and welcome to Thursday Lines. I'm your host for today, Nikki Sylvester. Thursday Lines is proudly brought to you by Little Birdie TV, topsport.com.au, Punting Form and the Comics Lounge. MG, how are you? Nice to see you today.
Nikki, you're back.
I'm back. Post-Origin, I was happy to be here.
I know. You knocked OB out of his chair and unfortunately Queensland didn't turn up last night so you could give both barrels to Toprope this morning. But Origin's going to take all the attention for Toprope. But yeah, the AFL tried to match him this week with the coach sacking of Gold Coast. So Toprope, I'm sure he loves the coach sacking. So yes, after 6 years, Stuart Dew's been released from the Gold Coast. So probably a long time coming, really. He's only had 36 wins for 121 starts, so 30% win rate there. In 6 years, they never got him to the finals, and Gold Coast in their history still have not made it to the finals. So I'm sure the push came to shove when Hardwick put his hat in the ring. I reckon this has been orchestrated by the AFL.
It's a beautiful story.
I'm sure it's already signed, sealed and delivered, and they'll just announce that in a few months' time. But yeah, it's Stewie did his best, but unfortunately he hasn't got the cattle on the park to get the job done.
No. Not a lot of money invested too, so you can understand, if you don't have if you're not showing up, you're not giving the performance, that's it, they're going to move on.
Yeah, they've got problems up there.
And the only other thing to come out of the weekend, Pendlebury, the big man.
Yeah, rare record here.
Yeah,
most disposals ever in the game was surpassed. Robert Harvey had the record at about we got 9,656 disposals. So obviously longevity plays a big part in this, but obviously a consistent high level gets the job done. So yeah, it's a bit of a rare record that probably won't be beaten for a while, I would have thought. So yeah, congratulations to Pendlebury, and they got the win on top. So it was all good in Collingwood.
The Pies, they're just having a great year. Toprope, oh my God, so good to see you this morning after Origin. How are you?
What an absolute treat. I knew it wasn't long before MG get rid of OB, but it's finally happened. MG, it's like the elder, always learn to orchestrate it. Yeah, he talks about Stuart Dew and Damien Hardwick in the AFL orchestrating. And this is not a ruthless MG move, I'm sure.
Yeah, tried to set you up, Toprope. Nikki had plans to wear the Queensland top in and everything and her scarf, but unfortunately, Toprope, you pulled one out of the fire. You're tipping Queensland again, and the old Blues get the job done. They're carrying on like they won the series last night.
Oh my God, Fittler! I've never seen a more smug coach in my life, and I was like, mate, come on. Your record is awful.
Can I just ask Toprope before you give the summation of what went on? Is it a masterstroke from Billy Slater here, pulling Queensland up to keep your man Fittler in the job for the series to come?
I was just about to say that, MG. Or while simpletons like me, bought into it. Billy Slater's playing chess while Brad Fittler's playing go fish. It's like, well, let's see if we can get him for another year or two. Let's see if these idiots in New South Wales will keep him on with a dead rubber win. And then all the talk is Brad Fittler will be kept on. Absolute job. Well done, Billy. Like, you got to applaud that. They did set look like they were great out who'd been fed 7 sausages before going to the boxes. They were not trying. Look at Stuart inquire if that was right.
The softest Origin game I've seen in a long time. I know you've watched them all for forever and a day, but geez, looked like touch footy, Toprope.
It looked like touch footy, but for those who were some of the overs, it didn't really work out that way.
18-10 at half time, Toprope, sitting pretty.
Had the Hammer 2+ tries and the Hammer last try as well, so that knock on for him really got the back pocket as well as the years there. Wasn't good.
So Fittler now keeps the job, Toprope. Is that the commentary seems to have changed this morning on all the threads that I've read?
Honestly, if Brad Fittler keeps you could go down to your local David Jones, pull one of the mannequins out and put him in there, you do less damage than Brad Fittler. Absolutely. Brad Fittler had absolutely nothing to do with that win. If anything, last night's win should let you be sacking more. The fact that Cody Walker wasn't picked for game one, we saw how much Cody Walker opened up that left, how much Cody Walker got, James Tedeschi firing, how if Cody Walker got the rest in there. The fact he wasn't picked for the first game was an absolute joke. And then for this idiot Jerome Law, he said before the game, I've got no plans for Clint Gustin. Well, that became painfully apparent when Clint Gustin got 2 minutes at the end of the game. The coaching is really remarkable. They won because Queensland clearly won it. So,
I know it's a hypothetical question, but if Hines had started and Cody Walker had started in that side, would they have gone close to win the series?
100%.
well, I would have won game one because they should have won game one anyway in Adelaide. So, I would say that Cleary was obviously going to start in game one, but I would have thought it's Cody or Hines. Hines is a bit more of a mystery. We never really saw how he stopped that level. Cody was obviously at that level. And the fact that Cody was dropped a few years ago. Cody should have been in that team. Like, Cody should have been in this team last series. The series, like, he's an absolute misfit. Like, if he gets the job again, seriously, just back crazy. Don't back him 3-0. Just back him 2-1 next year because
what would be the betting off the top of your head for Fittler to keep his job?
$50 to keep it. They've been floating trying ideas for him to keep it for a long time. So I anticipate he'll keep it. There'll be some rubbish changes, coaching director or companies and staff and that rubbish. But I think he'll keep it partly because there are a lot of candidates.
Yeah, no one's throwing their hand in the ring to take it. No.
But it would be marauding for him. It would be absolutely marauding for him. But the coaching difference it is like Craig Bellamy coaching against a 3-year-old. That is the difference in intelligence and calculation.
I'm so happy to be here for today. I'm telling you, this is just the highlight of my week. Okay.
The worst thing that happened in New South Wales was that win last night.
That's why it's Genius by Billy Slater.
No, I know. You've always been this big man, and you are spot on. That was the first thing I was going to say. Is like, simpleton like me, you didn't see it coming. I should have thought, well, Billy's just going to pull him up. I had a thought before the game was I was having a drink with a mate the night before. And he goes, do you reckon I'll just take this? Because I was like, you know what, you're probably right.
We're going to go through some footy from the weekend?
Yeah, it feels like a while ago with the amount of sport going on. But, we started Thursday night with a cracking game, actually. It was Richmond-Sydney and Richmond getting the job done. Game was in the balance going into the last quarter, and Richmond put 28-7 on and got the jump done by 12 points. So they keep their season alive, and Sydney are now dead in the water. They have to win their last 7 games to make the 8. Collingwood and the Bulldogs, another cracking game. Similar result. Collingwood getting the job done there by 2 goals. They flexed their muscles in the third quarter to get the job done there. The Bulldogs weren't too bad, actually. They had some players down, so going forward, there's still a chance to make the finals. Brisbane getting the job done over West Coast. West Coast are just non-existent at this stage, and Brisbane just did what they liked. They had an easy game there. GWS had to fight a bit harder for the Hawthorn one. They were well back in that game and just struggled against Hawthorn. It was a low-standard game. Melbourne and St Kilda, speaking of low-standing games, geez, Melbourne love to strangle sides, and St Kilda like to play that way as well. So Melbourne just got the job done there. St Kilda had some early injuries, which put them in the hurt locker for the game going forward. Port Adelaide Gold Coast, Stewie Dew, as we spoke to at the top, that was his last game coaching for the Gold Coast anyway. The Port Adelaide just got the job done at home. They weren't too impressive. They just flexed their muscle in the third quarter and had an unbelievable quarter, one of the better quarters I've seen this year, actually, putting 50-odd points on the board. Geelong smashed again at home. They're just too hard to beat down there. An ordinary side like the Kangaroos, never a chance. Geelong getting a solid 10-goal win there. Your Bombers in probably one of the games of the week, evenly matched. Adelaide again can't win on the road. Essendon, very exciting. They pulled up. Adelaide scored some late goals, which made that game look closer than it was. And the Blues, geez, they changed their tune quickly. 3 weeks ago, everyone was out the door at Carlton Land. They beat 2 of the worst sides going around in the comp, and then Freo, who can't lift their legs either. And all of a sudden, they're premiership contenders again. What I do love about Carlton, again, is it just keeps the modelers not changing. And this week, it'll be the rude awakening when they play Port. So I'm looking forward to discussing that game shortly. But, all in all, very good week of football.
Oh, thanks, MG. Okay, let's have a look at some round 17 stats. We've got 6 of 9 faves, 4 of 9 covers, 5 of 9 over totals, 6 of 9 for the home teams. And for the season, 66% of faves, 48% of covers, 53% over totals, and 53% for the home teams.
Yeah, favourites just going to creep up. They've had a really good month of football, so we've seen that virtually go from 60 to 66% in the last month. So they're running pretty true, but overall it was a pretty even week for bookies and punters. Thanks,
MJ. All right. Toprope, can we get into some NRL round 19, please?
It was a nothing round on paper, only just 5 games. We saw a couple of games. So the Sharks beat the Tigers in a game that the last try meant plenty to a lot of people, depending on what line you got. You got either the total got the line bet either home or beaten by half a point, and the total on the misconversion lost by half a point. So certainly played some interest there. The Raiders Dragons on some of the one. 10.5 point line. The Raiders were favourites, led by a big score. The Dragons came back there 36-26 the final. Dragons covered the number there. Warriors absolutely smashed the Eagles 46-10. The Eagles were embarrassing. I missed it to the start, but it was a wretched performance. The Bulldogs, they're back, baby. 36-26 over the Rabbitohs in a thriller. The Dogs look to have it well under control. Blake Wilson, the Anfield, scored a hat-trick, but Rabbitohs come back late. We thought they were going to get there in that final. I think there's actually 36-32 in that one. So we'll throw ball under the bus in that one. And the Dolphins beat the Titans 23-21. Holden points. It was controversial finish, 21-all, and missed field goal, given a penalty right in front of the sticks. So very interesting stuff there. Not much will be taken in the last week. So I saw a lot of the Origin players out. So we kind of getting back to the last real affected week this week. We're missing and 3 games of the 5, but starting to get serious again, club footy.
Oh, yeah, we're at the nitty-gritty end. All right, let's have a quick look at the stats. 3 of 5 faves, 2 of 5 covers, 3 of 5 over totals, and not one home team won. That's amazing. And for this season, we're sitting at 64% faves, 46% of covers, 49% over totals, and 56% for the home teams.
Well, yeah, the big thing has been the over kind of getting home like long run that call through pennies. It's made a massive charge over the back end of the season. So I'd certainly be leaning more overs than unders at the moment, which certainly send the totals push up in the last few weeks.
Thanks, Toprope. All right, it's time for the global wrap. We're going to have a quick look at what's going around the globe.
Yeah, the cricket. Toprope gets one back for the English. So it's unbelievable finish again, really. So the Poms now make it 1-2, or the Aussies lead 2-1, whichever way you look at it. And it's a cracking game at
it's been great.
At Headingley. The crowds, the different players standing up. So the teams are pretty even up and down the board. And as we said, it's definitely the Test series on now. Fourth Test starts next Wednesday. As we just saw the odds up there, and for the first time starting a Test Toprope, England are going to start slight favourites.
Well, so that should be true. No, sort of. Yeah, look, it's very, whatever way you cut it, it's pretty close and being, but I can't recall, Tom, there's been 3 such tight Test matches in a row, where you kind of get down and, either team can win. It just takes some bad heroics or a couple of wickets. So it's been a great series. And, I think it's going to be a very interesting team selection come the next Test for Australia. I think Cameron Green's very much going to struggle to get back into the team after Mitch Marsh's very impressive performance, and I'll throw under you, MG. Surely it's time to drop Dave Warner.
Oh, please, he should have been gone years ago. Come on, he can't play.
Well, so then if they do make that reshuffle, then maybe they do play both Marsh and Cameron Green.
Got to play a team of bowlers. I tell you what, I wouldn't put Cameron Green in my 4th 11. That's how bad Cameron Green is. But but nothing personally as Graham. But I just hate this manufactured all rounder that everyone needs to get into the team. So if you're a genuine all rounder and you can do both, good luck to you, and you deserve a spot. But I know he bats that well. I know he bowls that well. So Mitch Marsh is clearly ahead of him. But I don't know what they do if they drop Warner.
Head's the choice for opener if they do that, correct?
Yeah, I would have thought so. He'd probably be the only one on the team who could go up the order right to open. You're not going to move Marnus, I wouldn't have thought.
No, I think you leave Marnus and Smith if you're going to make that change. So it'd be a bold move, but it's a game of inches and you need players to stand up. So it'd be interesting what they do at the selection. But kicking off Wednesday night at 8 p.m, the 4th Test. It'll be interesting watching again. And you've got the British Open starting next week there, Toprope, at Royal Liverpool. So we will have a Little Birdie standalone golf podcast, which obviously you'll be a part of. But just an early tip, we've got the defending champ, our own Aussie Cameron Smith, who you just talked about, who's in form coming off a live win. He is currently, 5th pick in the betting at $17. We've got the 3 big at the top there with McIlroy, Scheffler and Rahm all just under the $10 there at Top Sports. Have you got an early tip for punters before the pod?
Yeah, on the hard pass on McIlroy as always. I don't. Scheffler's putting concerns me, so I'm kind of happy to move away from the award. Of those top 5, I think Cameron Smith's going to be very, very hard to beat in terms of value at the moment. I haven't delved too deep into it. I'm looking at Scotland this week. I do have an addiction to Tyrrell Hatton. I love him on links golf courses, so I'll be having something on Tyrrell Hatton. So I think he's going to go very well this week. So if you're not about Hatton to the Open, I'll be jumping on this week. I think he's a very good Scottish Open.
No. I'm on Ricky Fowler. I love Ricky. Come on, he's back.
How good seeing Ricky back.
Oh, he's so good. Seeing them at Wimbledon, he just looks amazing. Come on. He is the nicest bloke going around on the PGA Tour. And he couldn't have enough success for me, even if he's top 4. But I think Victor Hovland's playing really, really well too. So I don't know how he goes on a links course, but why not?
He wins anywhere. He wins anywhere but the continental United States. So he's right in the mix for sure.
All right, give us some Wimbledon.
Yes, the Wimbledon. We're up to the semis actually, so there's not too much left. No. Definitely at the business end. So the men's betting hasn't really changed. No. I mean, the top 2 have been pretty much. Alcaraz has come in from about the 450 to 360, just because obviously the rest of the field's disappeared. But the two semis there, Alcaraz is going to start about $1.33, $1.34 against Medvedev, and Djokovic is $1.16 in his semi-final against Sinner. So I expect those two to go through and play off the final. And I think just Djokovic, it actually will be a good final. But I just think at the end of the day, Djokovic's got too many weapons, and number 24 stands at the doorstep for him. So the men's is pretty plain. Plenty of action as always in the women's. We lost the first 2 favourites overnight. Getting beaten, so we've seen a big shake-up in the betting. Zabalenka is now $2.30 favourite. Ons Jabeur, who made the final last year and got beaten, she's at $3. Svitolina's been the story of Wimbledon so far. She's left the tour, had a baby, come back, and what a story she's been. So she actually beat the raging hot favourite into $5.50, and Wanda Rusa is at $6. So Svitolina will play, the 2 outsiders will play each other, and in one semi, and then Jabeur will play Zabalenka. So it's going to be hard for whoever comes out of Zabalenka and Jabeur to probably lose, but it'll be a good story on the other. But the women's, it's always the bookies. They love the women's majors. Different winner every time.
And the Soccer Women's World Cup. This is actually going to be really good, I think.
Yeah, I'm going to see if Toprope's got a winner in this. But the starts next week. Yep. So we just wanted to highlight, obviously goes for a month-long tournament. It's in Australia and New Zealand. Both Australia and New Zealand kick off next Thursday night with their game 1. So as you can see there, USA $3.50, England $5.30, Spain at $5.80, Germany at $7.50, and the Aussies are 5th in the betting there at $11, France at $13. So Toprope, you got any interest in the Women's World Cup, or you got something there for the punters that you want to throw them onto, or are you just going to cheer the Aussie bandwagon?
My interest is ending as quickly as possible so rugby league can return to their traditional home grounds. Is my view on this. But I know my man at Sky Channel, the great Brad Gray, really opens up a lot for a sports bet, but typically finds the German women in the Women's World Cup. So probably the Germans for me.
4th betting there.
What was they, $7.50? That's not bad. All right, the girls. All right, we might take that to TopSport. Thank you very much. All right, now it is time for Thursday Lines, proudly brought to you by topsport.com.au, family owned and operated for over 35 years. Bet with a bookie you can trust. Bet with TopSport. Okay, MG, let's go straight to some AFL Premiership prices, please. Yeah,
we're seeing a bit of a shake-up. Collingwood have been smashing the betting from last week. They've come at $2.90. Actually, the top 3 have all tightened up after the weekend. Collingwood from about $3.40 into $2.90, Port $4.20 into $4. Brisbane coming half a point. Melbourne have been the big drifter. I think we said on last week's podcast was keen to lay them if anyone out of the top 5. So they went from $5.50 out to $7.25. They got some issues. Geelong just shortened a point, and then you can have the rest of the field. I think that's been going on for a while. I don't think there's too much value on the back end.
No, not at all. No, okay, let's have a look at your round 17 results. So what do you get, 3 or 4? Actually, you are killing it this year. Can I just say, buddy?
Yeah, well.
He's modest, but you're doing really, really well. Like a 12.4% is amazing.
Yeah, it's going well. Yeah, I hope you haven't put the moz on me now, because we've got a big week coming up in round 18. I was a bit surprised on how many betting options that come out on Monday when we look to play. But yeah, no, it was a bit of a quiet week actually for the Stings. Nothing really stood out there. So we only had 4 plays, 3 got up. One did get lucky, won by half a point, and the one loss we had lost by half a point, both in the same game. So a bit like Toprope, he had one of those games where he had one for the line and one for the total. Well, I was trying to
feast or famine.
Avoid both. So It might have been some choice words and a few things thrown downstairs in the office, but yeah, overall going well. Solid week 3 out of 4, and yeah, as I said, there seems to be a few betting options for round 18. So hopefully we can keep it just going in the right direction.
I love getting you little pings on Monday morning. It's great. It's amazing, and your early plays for the week after. I mean, it's great. Honestly, if you follow AFL, you need the stings. Okay. Let's go to some premiership prices in the NRL, please. Toprope.
Yeah, we're seeing no change at the top of the order this week. South maybe slight drifters there, $6 up last week, but all the big names were out last week. So this is all about what's happening going forward. We're seeing the Cowboys kind of plenty of momentum around the $16. The Warriors, they were pressuring last week. They're $17, but the Raiders, 5th and allowed $29. Can they win it all? Not sure about that, but seems a little mispriced there.
Yeah, I remember a few weeks ago you were saying that as well, that they were the wrong price. So there you go. And how'd your GGOA go?
Very badly.
You were a bit like, yes, you're like MG.
I really need to stop going hard during this Origin period. It's really disruptive and probably more so this year with so many teams having so many bites at the Origin period. So, yeah, no good at all. Again, bit unlucky with the Tigers. If you took the Tigers late, you covered man nice profit for the week. But that's not how this all works. So onwards and upwards, round 20, here we come.
Of course, round 20. All right, now, MG, let's go to the AFL. Here we go. Swans taking on the Bulldogs. So the Swans are $1.67, the Bulldogs $2.20, the line is 5.5, and the over-under 165.5.
Yeah, it's not a great match on paper. Obviously, Sydney losing last week, their season, as I said, they've got to win out now 7 games in a row, and they're just not going well enough. So disappointing to play grand final last year and not be a part of the final series this year, but that's how it's going to land up for them. They do start favourite at home against the Bulldogs, who are 9-7. They are 7th on the ladder, so it's obviously a big game for them. They do have a couple of key injuries out, B. Smith being one of them, off a 6-day break, which makes them back-to-back 6-day breaks, which is not something I do want to follow, even though I have landed on the Bulldogs side. And at the moment, the market's open for Sydney and now gone to 5. So I'm a bit surprised that the market's kind of going that way, because on form, I had Bulldogs slight favourite in the game. So I'm just going to just make Bulldogs a slight lean at this stage, and might be a bet later on today. But I am keen on the over total in this game. 163 seemed a bit low to start with. It's crept up to 165. It hasn't exactly leapt off the map yet, but perfect weather conditions tonight. Bulldogs just play offense kind of brand now. Their last 6 games have gone over, so I'm really keen on the over total in Sydney of 3 out of their last 4. I just think with Sydney now dropping off, they want to play attractive kind of brand of football. Normally when sides who have been in the mix who are out want to play attractive brands. So being good weather and stuff, I think there'll be points in this game. So pretty keen on the over.
All right, the over's there for MG. Okay, now let's go to the first game in the NRL. We've got the Knights and the Tigers. The Knights are $1.28. The Tigers are $3.70. The line's 10.5, over under 44.5.
Horrendous standalone Friday game here. So, but I think we have to bet the Tigers on this line. It's utterly ridiculous. It's 12.5 and 10.5. But I have no idea how a Knights team who are not going to be playing final football should be favoured by so much of the Tigers. Tigers are no good, but yeah, the Knights, this is harder than the 1997 Knights. It's, the Knights have covered 6 of their last 18 at home. The Tigers have covered 11 of their last 19, a loss of 24 or more. Knights won the last 3 against the 2 teams, but the last 2 have been by single scores. I've got to believe this line is just too big.
All right, the line is too big. Let's go to Melbourne, Brisbane, Friday night at the MCG. Melbourne $1.75, Brisbane $2.02. The line 3.5, over under 164.5. Surely this has got to be do or die for Melbourne.
Well, if the NRL have had an ordinary game on, they don't want to muscle up against the AFL clearly, because this is a top 4 clash, 4th v 3rd on the ladder. I've had this circled for a few weeks now to monitor, but I'm not the only team, because Brisbane come back to the MCG where they've only won 1 of their last 14. So they've got a psychological issue with this ground, and if they've got any dreams of winning the flag this year, they're going to have to get the job done at the MCG. This is the last time they play at the MCG before the finals, so this is a big game for them, and they get Melbourne at probably their weakest point maybe. They're out of form. I know they did win last week. Brisbane can't afford to walk away from this game with a loss.
No.
I think it could have massive impacts on the back end of the end of the year if they do get the loss, because they just won't want to come back to the MCG. And unfortunately, to win the premiership, and they might even have to play there twice if they finish in third spot. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of pressure on Brisbane in this game. And, Melbourne are 8-1 in Victoria this year. So, they'll need to step up. Both are 6-day breaks. I just think this will be a real tight finals-like game. I'm pretty keen. Well, I'm shading the under at this stage. I think the bookies have nailed it. They've come out low enough, but I still think there's a bit of room on the under here. I'm going to stay out of the match because, I'm on Brisbane for the premiership. I think this is a big game for them to get over, and it's only a slight edge to them. So it's probably not a betting issue, but yeah, I'm going to trust in Brisbane if you're going to take them, because at the MCG 1-13 is not a good record. But yeah, no, this should be a tight game, finals-like atmosphere. I think they'll get a decent crowd. And if the rain does stay away, this, it'll be a real good game with a lot of form to come out of it. So Brisbane and just under.
Brisbane and just under there for MG. All right, now my babies are playing the Storm. The Roosters are playing the Storm at the SCG on Saturday night. Roosters $2.45, Storm $1.55. The line's 4.5, over under 41.5. I know you're going to tip the Storm, Toprope.
Yeah, I'm going to tip the Storm, Nikki. I just don't know what's happening with the Roosters. I can't recall being as confused by a team than the Roosters this year. I have no idea what's going on. I can't put a finger on it. It should be a team well and truly entrenched in the top 8. It's 13 at the moment. They're a negative 92 differential. I can't have any real case I can make to them is that they've covered 10 or 15 under Grant Atkins, and he is probably the I won't say it, but you can make heads or tails out of it. They've covered 10 or 15 against him. So if Atkins wants you to win, he usually he can get you home. The Storm over 1 of 7 of 8 against the Chooks. They've covered 6 of 7, won 28-6 in round 6 this year. They've covered 32 of 53 as an interstate favourite. I can't get around the Roosters. They've just done enough points at the moment. So Storm are a long way from their best. They're hanging on till Pap gets back, but lean towards the Storm without getting too over the top.
Yeah, I think that's a safe bet for this week. And Borko stitched me up because he's going to get – my teams are back-to-back. Geelong are playing the Bombers. Geelong $1.25. The Bombers are $3.70. The line is 24.5, over under 168.5. And we all know you say Geelong can't lose at home.
You're a good form judge, Nikki. You are a good form judge. The bookies misstepped here. They've bought into your side with the Essendon hoopla. They probably had the theme song singing in the background. They opened up 17.5 in this game. I'm going to be bold and say incorrect. We bet early and couldn't wait for the most of the bookies to open so you can get more money on. But, yeah, that was pretty cheap for a Geelong. They obviously, I don't know, haven't seen Geelong play at home recently or something like that. But head-to-head, 11-2, Geelong over Essendon. Dominant, won their last 5, won 14 straight at home. You got Cameron coming back. Yeah. They just don't lose at home. I mean, it's very, very rare, and especially against, I'm going to say, average to good sides. Essendon haven't proven themselves yet. They beat the weak. This will be a big test for Essendon, saying that if they can go down to Geelong and steal one here, then we'll have to, I will.
But just to be super competitive, like even for them as a club, like going forward, if you've got that dream that you think you're going to be there playing finals, so you've got to be competitive against Geelong.
I'm not sure they do believe. I think they've had a decent run. They've got some wins. Well, this will test them. Let's see on next week's podcast if we're right or wrong. This is what this business is about. The betting's been smashed for Geelong. 17, now it's 23, 24. I think there's more juice in this. It won't start less than 23, 24. I think people who read up on Geelong will be very keen. I think the total's about right. Essendon have had 6 straight under games at night, which is an interesting stat. They do like to play within the comforts of the Dome. Going down Geelong's a different prospect. Pretty keen on Geelong here. I think it'll be one-way traffic, and I think they'll win and cover convincingly. Anyway, let's have a look at the the next step. We've got the Warriors and the Sharks. I actually reckon this is going to be a great game, Toprope. The Warriors $1.92, the Sharks $1.88, but no line at all, over under 44.5. Yeah, the market certainly agrees with you, Nick. It's picking game almost. The Warriors sliced of faves. Been back in just a touch. They were 1.5 point favourites earlier in the week. The Warriors here,
real momentum in New Zealand for the Warriors at the moment. The Wars are all the rage over there. They've covered 6 of 9 at Mount Smart. They've covered 11 of 18 off a win. Not sure about the Sharks. Haven't really beaten anyone of note for the most of the year. A couple of bad teams to the sword, but yeah, I'm happy to beat the Warriors. There's a little bit of value being in this one.
All right, there we go. Stay tuned. A little bit of value in the Warriors. All right, let's quickly go through the rest of the games. So the Bulldogs are playing the Broncos. The Bulldogs $2.90, Broncos $1.41. The Lions 7.5, over under 44.5.
Yeah, I'll bet this game with the young fellas. So looking forward to getting back to Belmore. Traditional home of the Dogs here, but unfortunately not a happy hunting ground for them since 2015. Covered just 1 of 9. They've started covering their 3 games under the referee. And they've covered just 17 of 44 day games. Broncos have won and covered the last 4 against the Bulldogs. Covered 8 of 11 interstate. Covered both games under the referee. They've played under Ziggy. So, yeah, Broncos probably the bet.
Okay, thanks, Toprope. All right, and then we go to Manly and the Cowboys. Manly $2.28. The Cowboys $1.63. The Lions 3.5, over under 44.5.
Yep, very keen on the over in this game. Over 44.5. Not sure on the sides. We'll wait to see whether Drew Evans and Jake backs up. Cowboys have, I think, 5 players on Origin duty, so big watch on what happens there. But very keen on the over here. The last 3 between these two have top 54 points. The over's gone 4 or 5. Huge overturn at Brookie Manly, and over 9 out of the last 30. But 28-16 the over, Manly without Turbo. The over is 9-4 when the Cowboys are playing the referee 6-1 when they're off a win. 24, 6-1 when they're off interstate off a win. So, yeah, keen the over here. I think this is way too low.
Okay, thanks. The over's there. All right, then we go to the Dolphins and the Panthers. The Dolphins $5.50. The Panthers $1.15. The Lions 15.5, over under 44.5.
Yeah, not a game I'll be getting too heavily involved in here. Even the Dolphins team really shows up here. They've covered 3 or 4 as on top of 10 or more, but I don't know, it all seems to be lined up a little bit for Penrith here. Day game will start out being a day game. Forecast good weather. They've covered 7 of 9 when favourite by 14.5 or more. Nathan Cleary, even on the extended bench, could make a comeback. If you've got this game, bet it late and see what the sides are, because Penrith have a few players named to back up as well. So, yeah, probably leaning towards Penrith here, but not betting until these final teams are known.
And we've got Parramatta and the Gold Coast. Parramatta $1.38. The Titans are $3.05. The Lions 8.5, and over under 49.5.
Yeah, I really love something on the Titans. That's why the plus 8.5 and that's 3.05. Parramatta have a very good record here. And some of the Titans won in only around 10, 26, 24. The Eels, that covered just 2 of 9 as a favourite of 8 or more, 1 of 6 as a favourite of 8 or more at Combat. So, little something on the Titans. I don't think they're too bad. I think they're kind of finding some rhythm, and with all their rhythm players, I did have 4 players missing last week due to Origin, so I think they can give the Eels a good run.
Thanks, Toprope. Yep, I don't mind the Titans. I'll go on with you on that one. All right, thank you so much for being with us, Toprope. Now, punters, if you need the GGOA, you can get that in the Little Birdie live shop, and it's $33 a week. GGOA for all your punting action in the NRL. Thanks, Toprope. Have a good weekend.
Oh, great to see you again, Nick. You have a good weekend too, and we'll hopefully chat soon.
MG, can we go through the rest of the AFL, please? Mm-hmm. All right, Magpies and the Dockers. Magpies $1.09, the Dockers $6.75, the Lions 40.5, and over under 159.5. Shit, 40.5.
Did you just swear?
Sorry.
In the swear.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's a high line. I think it's tough for me. I don't really have a play here. I think the Collingwood line is about right. It hasn't really moved. It hasn't moved at all. 40s they've put up and it's stayed. Teams just trending in often different directions. Collingwood have won 3 straight. Freo have lost 2. Collingwood 11 of their last 12 they've won. Off an 8-day break. Freo got 6-day break in travel. I don't like that combination at all. And Collingwood at the MCG are 8-1 this year with only a 4-point loss to Melbourne. So even though the line's 40, it's hard to play. I don't like really tipping big lines at that, even though I might have one later with Richmond West Coast. But, Collingwood have got some players back. Side, Bottom and Maynard might return. Mycheck probably misses this week. But, I think Collingwood will get the job done. I can't tip into a line, but pretty keen on the over total here, 159. I thought it was a bit low. It hasn't really moved. It's held the same. Just a weather check on it, so you'll be able to bet on Saturday morning. But, over 159 is probably the play in this game. Okay, then we've got the Gold Coast and the Saints. Gold Coast $1.54, the Saints $2.40, the Lions 9.5, over under 160.5. Yeah, not a game I get involved here, Nick. Two average sides. Yep. Neither one I really like betting too much, both off losing form. So, yeah, I think markets are pretty solid here. Gold Coast 10 down to 9, so there's a bit of money for security, but they've got injuries from last week, so not one I will get involved in.
Okay, moving right along. Let's go. All right, we've got the Blues and the Power. Here we go. The Blues, 2.20, Port Adelaide, $1.64. The line, 6.5, over under 166.5.
Yeah, surprise. Carlton money here. 8 down to 6 for Carlton. They'll continue to be back if the market is going to move anymore. I'm just going to sit and wait here, and I will be backing Port Adelaide when it reaches its bottom. It might be on the Saturday as well, but yeah, Port Adelaide for me, won 13 straight. Carlton have won 3 in a row, but just inferior teams. 6-day break, coming back from Perth. Pretty keen on Port. I think they're cheap.
Yep. All right, Port there. Let's go to the next one. The Crows and the Giants. The Adelaide is $1.37. The GWS are $3. The line 17.5. Over under 171.5.
Yeah, even teams. Both have 8 wins for the year. Adelaide at home, as discussed. Now they've won 8 straight. They've covered there at home. So definitely a different team at home. GWS, big test on the road. Yep. There is money for Adelaide, 15 down to 17. I can't get involved in the line here. But I'm pretty keen on the over total. We bet earlier over 169.5. It's up to 171.5. They play open at Footy Park, and if the weather's good to go, I think there'll be points. So the over.
Okay, over there for MG. Now, here we go. Kangaroos and the Hawks. Kangaroos, $2.75. The Hawks, $1.42. The line's 15.5 and over under 171.5.
Terrible game. Kangaroos have won 2 for the year, lost 14 straight. Hawthorn have won 4 games for the year, lost 3 straight. Hawthorn have a dominant 12-4 record over the Kangaroos. Can't come into them at the price. They have been backed 11 to 14. There's 15 in spots. So if you're going to bet and you're desperate or you're flying on the Sunday, that's fine. I would suggest maybe shading the Kangaroos, but hard to come into. This game could be a bit open, though. 170 is a highish total, but again, could probably just shade the over. The Kangaroos have got 8 straight over games at the moment going. So that could be the angle if you're keen to play in this game.
Okay, thanks, MG. All right, last one we got. West Coast and the Tigers. West Coast $6.75, Richmond $1.09. The line's 41.5, over under 173.5.
Yeah, not a good game to finish. They've hit them all on the Sundays this way. If you're going to play, I'd be playing Richmond. It's moved from 40 to 41. I think it'll only go one way. West Coast have lost 15 straight. They've lost 13 of 14 by 40 or more. So if you're going to play and you want to play on West Coast, you're brave, you've got too much money. Richmond will need the win, will need the percentage booster with the way the ladder is. And I think there might be points in this game. 6 out of the last 7 head-to-head have gone over. So maybe Richmond, maybe over to finish. If you're in front.
If you're in front. Thanks, MG. Okay, punters, you do need the AFL Stings, and you can get it from $25 a week in the Little Birdie live TV shop. He's having a great year so far, so get your hands on the Stings. He does bet early, and you need it. All right, punters, thank you so much for having me. OB, I hope you're okay. Happy to fill in anytime. Have a great weekend, punters. Bye.